Okay, folks, tying it up, we meet these players here in the ace match. Game 3 in the semifinals for the Zotac Monthly. And spawning here in the lower left corner of the map. Playing for Quantic, it's the Red Zerg, Hyun.
And his opponents tying up last game. Can he actually come back and take the series 2-1, advance into the finals? Best of 5 for 800 euros, I believe.
Now,
It is Western Wolves Arthur.
I want to address something you brought up in chat. Oronsky saying, kind of making a joke there about like, oh, you know, first game, Proxy 2 game, Mass Fighters game 2, lots of skill, but the reality is you kind of have to play differently. Whether you clarify it as cheesy, or sorry, classify it as cheesy or unique, however you want to look at it, you don't take Hyun on with normal macro. There's just no way you can take on someone like Hyun with normal macro. So I kind of agree with Arthur's different choices, I guess we can phrase them, to bring him to where he is.
Maybe he just straight up didn't want to play Daybreak too.
That's also a very, very possible
yeah.
choice.
I know a lot of players who are actually like vetoing Daybreak now in series, that if it's still in the map pools from tournaments.
Well, yeah, with that spawning pool, first, of course, recognizing Arthur will be harassive and annoying and very irritating. As all Protoss really are.
I'm expecting a Nexus first from him this game too.
Yeah, he's delayed.
Neoplanet S, you can get away with it just because of the natural area. I don't even know.
I almost feel you'll have to on this map too, because getting that third base, so difficult, so impossible for both players. There's no Zerg player that takes a comfortable third, and there's no Protoss player that takes a comfortable third. Unless you're like a Terran with a planetary, you don't have a really secure third base on this map.
Yeah. And very few Terran players actually go ahead and take planetaries. It's unfortunate the way that the map is positioned, but it also leads to quite interesting games, is that you're very committed between whether you place your third on the one side or on the other. You have to defend that location, and it's quite a far way removed from your natural, and all of your production facilities. So Protoss, they obviously have the additional benefit of being able to warp in wherever the hell they want on the map, as long as they have Pylons there. And especially with that mothership core, having that photon overcharge at their disposal, you can easily get between 3 bases, having your mothership core like up in this little nook in the main base.
Well, dude, I'll call it right now. I predict you Arthur's going to take the northern base, and Hyun will also take the northern base. As that just seems to be the pattern for Protoss. Because, like you said, the Warpers, they can go wherever they want, but Zerg almost always, just because of the way the creep works, go for that straight-up base rather than the one to the side, I guess you classify it as. Now, one curiosity strikes me here for Arthur. He's kind of shown his hand with that weird Void Ray strat. There's a little bit of banter in a foreign language in the lobby, so we don't really know what they were discussing, but one thing is for certain. Hyun, I feel, won't be caught off guard by that again. I mean, Arthur could try and pull off that build, maybe, but I don't think it would work.
Yeah. I really want to know what Hyun ended up saying afterwards, but at first, Arthur said, "Good game, well played," and then Hyun said, "Good game," and he cried a little bit. And then he said something after that, and I don't know what it was, and I really want to know.
Well, I was right with the base location. He hadn't actually taken the side base, which... the reason I don't like Zerg players doing this, and I always see this kind of kick the ass, is that second hallway. There's always that Zealot warp in later on. There's always the Dark Templar. Hitting from 2... I mean, every base you take is going to be open to 2 attack paths, but for some reason the most southern one just seems to be the most forgotten about. Not to say Hyun would necessarily forget about it, as it is Hyun, but just seems to be the case from Gamescast of recent days on this map.
When I play Zerg on this map, I almost always take this base against Terran and Protoss. In ZVZ, I take the northern base, but I want to defend against Warp Prism and drop play, and it makes it so much easier to be able to position yourself between these two. You can't, there's not enough dead space here to hide stuff, and with the amount of muted play that we see at the pro level, I would really be kind of shocked if a player was not in a position to be able to more adequately defend against harassment.
Actually, that's an interesting point.
Than the top base.
I don't think I've actually seen Hyun go for mutas at any given point.
He's not a player that really has ever revolved around it.
No, he's not. So that's a very interesting point, because if that is one of the advantages you can gain on this map, and knowing that Hyun doesn't go for it, that might actually affect how Arthur plays. Arthur, of course, he's got to know Hyun's playstyle. Hyun, you can boast about being the winner of an online tournament so many times before everyone realizes, like, okay, I'm going to be playing you at some point. Let's make sure we know how you play. And there's plenty of examples in recent days that Arthur could have easily taken an hour to look at and got a good idea of how Hyun plays.
Yeah. Let's see. We do have a Roach Horn coming down. Everything seems pretty standard out of Hyun thus far. Off of 2 gas, taken with a natural in typical Hyun fashion.
Just
Wait a
aside,
little bit on the injected his main though. That is not like him at all.
Just a side fun story too. Recently we cast Jim Rising on this map, and he's the only person I see go for that third base and actually hold it. And he did it 2 games as well, so it's not like 1 game on Neoplanet S he randomly pulled it off. But it's funny because these gold bases in the middle of the map, they're so tempting, but nobody goes for them because they're so vulnerable.
There was a time in the metagame where Hellbat traps were really common on this map that I always used to CC first the gold and then go for a fast factory. And like if you get an eBay up to, you can actually hold it. And nobody will ever know that you took the gold base, and then you just win.
That's quite silly. I'd love to see that actually get pulled off here. Like
it's not viable anymore because the meta games changed, but it was really funny while it was working.
I keep waiting for one of these turns where someone lifts to the gold. Like even if it's a best of 3 and they're just trying to cheese the first game or something. But to date, I've not seen anyone try and do that. Of course, most of the gold master Wings of Liberty are removed, and that's a big factor of why. But even here on Neoplanet S. But okay, this pylon gonna get scouted unfortunately by this little attack squad. Arthur could use his mothership
a lot of
core.
things out of his opponent, if nothing else, but he needs to keep these sentries alive.
Yeah, I'd love for him to use the mothership core to just poke away at this. I mean, it's not going to kill any of these roaches, but it will soften them up quite a bit.
Overlord actually scouting the second pylon positioning. Little does he know there's already a third up. So Arthur's actually committing quite a fair amount to this. Oh, the Overlord actually scouts the Twilight Council as well as all of the gates. And this is going to be very, very committed push here.
Actually, I gotta say, Arthur, I cast him again for something, the SCA tournament, that's what it was. He went for mass just blink stalkers on this map, and won through pure micro.
Yeah, I really love this build as Protoss. And as soon as the rocks are down, we're gonna see this get going. A couple of Zerglings trying to snipe the pylon here, and this is the last remaining pylon too.
Arthur's actually force fielding it. Can he save it? Just barely saves it, but has to burn 4 force fields in order to do so. Roaches will just finish it off. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Arthur's not going to want to push without that pylon. He really needs to get another probe across the map ASAP.
And with Roach speed, he's actually going straight for a counter at his opponent's main base.
I don't think he can really afford to pull it off, though. Between the cannon and these stalkers, he should be okay. But oh no, these Zerglings are going to get this round off. Beautiful recall choice there. Oh my god, Arthur giving me a heart attack as he gets caught out in the middle of the map.
That was like game's over into, hey, alright, let's try this again.
Yeah,
Version 2.0, yeah!
And that is why this mothership core is so critical to the Protoss army.
Yeah.
I just wish the mothership wasn't so garbage. Because, like, right now, I don't think I've seen anyone make a mothership core shy of, like, Baby Knight in desperation to deal with swarm hosts.
Nope. I think it's going to stay that way, too, for the most part, unless randomly they decide to patch it for some reason.
Well, the Vortex was too damn good. I understand removing it, but they crippled the unit by getting rid of it entirely. That cloak is not worth it. But okay, with that forward pylon being placed down once again, Arthur saying, alright, you got me. The first pylon assault, unfortunately taken out entirely, but he doesn't really have enough stalkers. I mean, with some perfect force fields, he'll take a fight.
Actually, out of time warp, too. This is huge.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's got enough stalkers to take part of this army, but not all of this army. He really needs this extra warp-ins ASAP.
He survived. He survived until the Hydro stand is completed. He has range halfway complete, and he has 14 Hydras on the way. This will absolutely be able to stomp through this push if he's able to just stall out a little bit more and group up his Hydras. I'd love to see him actually use the south engagement area to try and get his Zergling flank on his opponent, though. Alright,
well, first blink goes off. Force field's going up, but not enough. Actually, not very good either. It doesn't... No solid wall off whatsoever.
No Guardian Shield against the Roaches.
There we go, a little bit
delayed. Pretty high.
Yeah, Arthur with some serious miscontrol there, but he does make up for it in the end. Look at this beautiful control here as he focuses down these Roaches.
Yeah, there we go.
Now, a lot of these stalkers remain, but a lot of them fell as well, sadly. Arthur's got a couple Zealots here to buffer for the Hydralisk damage, but of course, Hydralisk, Hydralisk just destroy every gateway unit there is. There's no good unit you can make from a gateway that effectively deals with Hydralisks.
And at this point, too, Hyun has a pretty nice concave. He has 2 spines up here. The Zealots are all caught behind the Stalkers and the Sentries, though. They're really not doing all that much in the engagement, just costing a dead supply. Arthur has the most awkward force fields I've ever seen in my life this game here, Panda, but he's got some amazing blink control to make up for it. He's actually trading quite effectively with how many Hydralisks are here. He really shouldn't be, but he is. And now all the sentries are gone. He just has pure Stalker. I don't think the Roach count is quite high enough for him to be able to survive this.
Well, you know, without the sentries, it's actually not that big of a deal because there's not a huge Zergling remax behind this. The Roaches and the Hydras.
30 additional Zerglings on the way.
Yeah.
See if they can change the engagement here. Jin trying to stall for all it's worth.
I love this. Arthur's getting a lot of free hits. He's not picking off these units, but he's getting a lot of free hits
Jin
off.
barely saving a very, very low health Spinecrawler.
10 health remaining. But Arthur's still poking up, and he's just losing shields. This is what's so great.
Yeah. But at this point, too, I mean, his opponent's mining up 3 bases. Here,
Oh,
he
yeah,
is
this is-
committing to the engagement. He has enough Hydras, I believe, at this point to take it.
I don't know, the reinforcements, and plus the Blink Stalker micro is really good here out of Arthur, but just forcing his way in here is not going to be enough for Hyun. Look at this, the Stalkers are all so low, but they still stand, blinking forward even offensively, picking up the last couple Hydralisks. Only 4 remain in that army. He is, of course, building more behind this, but damn, if Arthur isn't controlling this amazingly well.
Oz would be proud, man. This is his go-to build. I'm pretty sure he's the first one that actually used the Solon back in Wings of Liberty.
I can't believe how effectively this is working. Arthur, of course, I would love for him to crank out a Mothership Core behind this as well, just to add that little bit of extra spice, but...
Here we go, 28 Zerglings. I really feel with this, as long as he can prevent the Blink from really extending the life of these Stalkers, he can be in a good place, and for that, he needs Zerglings. All of the sentries are gone. We have 1 Zealot on the field here, now 2.
Zerglings will just flood in here, and if nothing else, will soak the damage for the Hydras and the Roaches to start doing something, but... Oh man, Arthur
11
retreating.
Roaches on the way behind this. Here we go. Hyun is taking yet another engagement.
Some really nice blinks though, I gotta say Arthur with some immaculate control. Zerglings now gone, only Roaches and Hydralisks. And again, so many of these Stalkers remain, but this time, almost every single one of them has taken real damage at this point.
And this is the best engagement area for him possible, too. He's forcing his opponent to engage in a choke. Oh, here we go. Beautiful concave from
so
Hyun.
well done. But is it going to be enough, Panda? It's going to be just barely if it is. These Stalkers, again, with that crazy control in the back. Hydras, though, are shredding them as Hydras do. And Arthur has lost his momentum. GG. Oh, fa. I almost swore that. I couldn't believe that.